Well, today we're working on a 2000 Ford F-150, guys. The key doesn't seem to shut off the accessories. You hook the battery up, the blower and the radio come on right away without the key in it. So we're going to pull the ignition switch out, replace that, and hopefully solve the problem. So we're going to start by removing this cover here, pulling it off. You'll need a 7mm socket and ratchet. Pull this screw off, this screw off. Then we'll have a screw up here in this cover and over here. We'll get this panel off here to start. Okay guys, so there's actually 2 screws on each one of these levers, the hood release and the brake release. 1 bolt here and 1 there. And there's also 1 bolt right here I just took out. And come up here, this panel has to get clipped out here. And that'll give you access to another bolt right there. Then you can see this panel just pop down after you get that last screw off the right side over here. And I'll get that off and we'll show you what's underneath there. And this thing is snapped together into that tin plate. There's a bolt here and a bolt here we have to pull out, and that should drop down. So let's get them out and we'll see where we're at. Okay, so them 2 bolts did take that metal plate off. I know on some of them they're showing this piece here actually separates from this plate. You actually unscrew it or just unclips. This one here is actually screwed from the back side. But taking them 2 bolts out, they were 8mm bolts instead of 7. Took care of that, got that off. The only thing you gotta do is you gotta fight to get the a little bit. You just gotta wiggle it around to get this hood latch and the brake through the 2 pieces. Your ignition switch setup. We're gonna have to. We already unhooked the battery. We'll have to. I think it's a 7mm bolt that goes into that harness. We'll get that off, pull the connector out, and then we can see where we're at. Okay guys, so that was a 7mm socket. I'm going to try and hold this one-handed and get that up there and show you what we're doing here. I'm going to put this down, get that bolt out, and then I'll show you where we're at with the rest of it. Okay guys, we got the connector off. Pulled that 7mm bolt out of the back here. Pulled the connector out. Now all we're going to need is a T30 Torx to get the ignition box here out. There's one on this side, one on this side, and that'll drop down. Oh, I just get a long extension and my 1/4" ratchet with a T30 on there. We'll pull that out and be ready to put the new one in. Okay, so we got the old switch out. Like I said, it was just the 2 T30 Torx bolts, one on each end of the switch here. Got the new switch at O'Reilly for Master Pro, 1-year warranty for $19. We'll get these swapped out and show you what happens. Okay guys, there you can see the 2 T30 Torx switches put back up in there. You gotta make sure you get that pin all the way up in there and hold that switch flush to the steering column there when you tighten them down so it doesn't move around. We're gonna pause the camera a minute, flip over to the other side, and we'll show you the wire connector getting put back together. Okay, so here's that wire connector again. Harness, we'll get that pushed in there and just tighten that. Once it's nice and flush, tight to the inside the switch there, and just take your 7mm socket and tighten that back up. Alright, connector's back in, that 7mm bolt's tight. Don't crank down that thing, just get it snug. You don't want to break that plastic and have a bigger nightmare than you got. We're going to start buttoning this thing back up. Remember, when you put that plate back on, you just got to fish the brake pedal, release pedal, and the hood latch up between that plastic and that metal plate. Okay, this is where one 8mm bolt, there's the other one goes. I'm going to put them in and then I'll take some more footage of you guys and then show you that hood latch and the brake release. Sorry guys, I got to do this one-handed, so I can't get everything for you. Alright, we got that metal plate mounted up there. It's pretty secure. Them are slotted bolts, so adjust your left and right to make sure your other bolt holes line up like this one here. And then look in the holes up here to make sure these are lined up before you start tightening anything down. Now you can either go and line these up. There's actually a pin here, a guide pin. You can set that on, keep that in place and get your screws started. Or you can secure this panel there, up there, and down there first. It doesn't really matter the order, as long as you work these cables through between the two pieces of the metal and the plastic there. You'd be the metal and the plastic right here, so you can get their releases through there without any issues. All right, I'm gonna get the screws in there, and we'll show you further progress. There. I got one down here, guys. And this one's gonna be up in here. Okay guys, everything's buttoned up inside the cab. All we got left to do is hook the battery up. This is all we use for tools. We use a T30 torque, 7mm socket, 8mm socket, short extension, and a 1/4 inch ratchet. Once we get the battery hooked back up, we'll start it up, make sure everything's working fine. This one here wasn't a no start issue, but it was just the key would not, ignition would not shut, the accessories off, the radio and the heater and stuff would still go with the key out of the truck. So we'll take and hook it up and see what happens. Thanks.